Right now at 6, Coulee region groups returning home after being stranded in Mexico. What they witnessed and the latest on their trips back.
And Wisconsin sees higher energy bills. What's behind it and how it compares to last year.
You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now at 6.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for News 8 Now at 6. I'm Emily Brown.
And I'm Ken Kozarowski. Local travelers caught in that violence in Puerto Vallarta are now beginning to make their way home.
News 8 Now's JDS McGee joins us in the newsroom with the details. JDS.
Yes, some members of the Onalaska Rotary Club are finally heading home. Members of the group traveled to Mexico to hand out water filters, a project they've done for nearly 9 years. But after violence erupted in the area, their trip quickly changed course. One member told News 8 just moments before boarding her flight that the emotions are mixed.
A lot of relief, sad for everything that just happened here, but a lot of relief and just we're just happy to be going home, just to be back with our family and be back home and be safe.
News 8 also learned about 2 others who were stuck that owned the HD Tavern in Holmen. They were in the heart of the chaos and woke up to explosions. They say they witnessed these violent actions by the cartel right outside the door where they were staying.
They turned and went up to the side street along our condo and pulled a guy out of his vehicle who was sitting in a parked vehicle, pulled him out and threw him onto the road, and took his vehicle and drove it half a block down, stopped it in the middle of the intersection, and threw gasoline and stuff in it and started it right on fire.
Lisa Kine and the HD Tavern owners are expected to be back home later tonight. The other Rotary members have flights secured and are expected to be home by Friday. Live in the newsroom, JDS McGee, News 8 Now.
Thank you, JDS. Department of Children and Family Secretary Jeff Pirtle making a stop in La Crosse today. He toured the Quick Trips Kids Learning Center and discussed the Get Kids Ready childcare program with facility leaders.
And we're in the business of growing young families. We want to be a state that's thriving in all of those ways. And so as they went through the budget process, the governor and the legislature found a compromise around ways to continue to invest in early childhood education. And this is the first time the state's going to have dedicated money in early childhood education.
Nearly 1,400 child care providers have expressed interest in the program. 2 local officers were presented life-saving awards for rescuing a driver from a burning vehicle in Holmen.
Deputy Karsten Jar and Officer Walker Stoner broke the window, cut the seatbelt, and pulled the unconscious driver to safety as flames grew. The driver suffered compound fractures to both ankles but survived the crash. Happening now in La Crosse, a public input session for a possible redesign of Green Bay Street between 9th Street and Losey Boulevard. A big part of the redesign, new bike lanes. The city is hosting a presentation and survey at Central High School until 7 p.m. tonight.
Well, I didn't get to go outside today. I bet you did because you walked the dogs. How did it feel out there? Because it's cold in here.
Yeah, a little colder than it is in here, just by a smidge. But those temperatures still fluctuating a bit this week, Greg?
They're still going to fluctuate too, but the more fluctuation is probably going to be on the colder side than we see in the warmer side. But we do have a little bit of warmer air coming later this week too. But for tonight, it's really the cold conditions. We'll have the winds there increasing this evening, getting up to about 15, maybe 18. A few clouds here and there, but otherwise mostly clear, partly cloudy skies. You see the wind chill will start getting back down to around 10 by 10 p.m. into probably the single digits there afterwards. Similar story with La Crosse, a few clouds here and there, but the winds will start to pick up about 10 to 15 later this evening. So kind of breezy evening, but the wind chills are going to start falling back into the teens. Now overall high temperatures got into the 30s, not quite average, but getting a little better. You get further west, you see Mankato and those areas got closer to the 40-degree mark too. Now as we look currently, we're in the upper 20s. That wind chill is still in the 20s, but 34 still at Winona too. So we're holding up, but that wind is starting to turn, and that'll be the bigger story. Overall precipitation has pushed off to the east. We're lowering back in the 20s and less cloud cover, so uneventful evening. It's just going to get colder. And yes, up and down. We do have a 50 in the forecast. Unfortunately, that day doesn't last real long. It's just one day of warm conditions. So we'll kind of time out and show you what the weekend has in store too a bit later.
All right. Thank you, Greg. And a reminder, you can always track weather on your block by downloading our First Warn weather app.
Happening around the state, multiple fire departments responding to a hotel fire near Duluth. Officials say the Superior and Sage Hotel partially collapsed. One person was injured and received medical care. The damage is estimated around $1 million.
Wisconsinites are seeing higher energy bills this winter. According to Wisconsin Public Service, colder than normal temperatures and higher natural gas prices are to blame. The average cost of natural gas is rising 18% compared to last year.
A Madison mother says a staff member at East High School fed her autistic son dog food. Deborah Hawks says her son was given a can of wet Nutrish dog food instead of school lunch, and the district hasn't been able to explain why it was given to her son.
Looked like he ate a little bit of something, at least 3, 4, 5 bites. If it was an accident, why? It can't be an accident.
Hawks says the staff member has been fired.
The Seven Rivers Alliance held its annual State of the Region conference today in La Crescent. The Regional Economic Development Organization brought together local government officials, business leaders, and economic development professionals to discuss challenges facing Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa. This year's focus includes housing shortages, artificial intelligence, manufacturing, and data centers.
I hope they take away an idea because we all kind of struggle with these challenges and opportunities, and maybe they'll make a connection with somebody, and that might spur further dialogue and might lead to some solutions.
Hardy says the conference also highlighted success stories from communities that have tackled housing projects and other development challenges. Still to come, a Black River Falls man wins big, the life-changing scratch-off ticket, and where it was sold.
And a record-breaking blizzard buries the Northeast. The massive cleanup that's underway.
Tomorrow on News 8 Now this morning, we'll tell you how socioeconomic factors could increase your chances of heart disease. And Art's got a roller coaster of a forecast this week. See the highs and lows when you join us starting at 5 a.m.
Happening tonight, the State of the Union. President Trump will give his union address at 8 p.m.
Here's a live look at Capitol Hill, where preparations are underway. The president warning his speech will be a long one. News 8 Now's Grace Monk is in the news studio with a preview. Grace.
President Trump is expected to touch on a number of issues ranging from domestic policies to foreign affairs.
Going to be a long speech because we have so much to talk about.
With midterm elections less than 9 months away, President Trump's State of the Union address will focus largely on the economy.
For any president, it is crucial for them to drive a narrative on the economy that gives people optimism that things are going to get better.
Republicans say they expect the speech to highlight the president's economic success.
No tax on tips and overtime. We'll talk about the accomplishments in foreign affairs and American strength, cutting taxes for everyday Americans.
He's also expected to discuss growing tensions with Iran as the administration weighs possible military action over the country's nuclear program.
What he has shown is he's willing to go in and do limited strikes or go in and do what it takes to get control of the situation, but not hang around and have another war.
Chergosky said the speech is the president's opportunity to sway voters and bolster policies that receive backlash.
The One Big Beautiful Bill Act certainly stands out. The task ahead for President Trump is to discuss that legislation in a way that connects with the average voter.
Some Democratic lawmakers are expected to skip the event, but Senator Tammy Baldwin says she plans to be there.
I think it's important to show up, and that doesn't mean that I am necessarily going to be approving of this president's message.
Baldwin will be joined by Kim Frederick, a Mindoro mother who relies on Medicaid to support her son with Down syndrome.
One of the most powerful things we can do is uplift stories of people who have been harmed by this president and his agenda.
Senator Ron Johnson will also bring a guest. He will be joined by retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Blando, his former chief of staff. In studio, Grace Monk, News 8 Now.
Thank you, Grace. In the State of the Union is our News 8 Now poll question. We asked, will you be watching President Trump's speech tonight? So far, 23% say yes, 77% say no. Well, stick with us for continued coverage of tonight's address. You can watch here on News 8 or online at news8000.com. A Black Rivers Falls man winning big. Warren Rott won $2 million on a scratch-off. He bought it at a at a Taylor Corner store in Taylor, Wisconsin, making it the biggest prize ever sold at the store.
Well, more than 3 feet of snow fell on towns in southeast Massachusetts as the Northeast begins to clean up from this week's blizzard. Providence, Rhode Island saw 37 inches, smashing a nearly 50-year record. At one point, more than 500,000 customers lost power across the Northeast. New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill says more than 90% of outages in her state have been restored.
As I've been saying, if you've seen one storm, you've seen one storm. This storm was not normal. We were ready.
Another winter system is headed for the Northeast that could bring several inches of snow or rain to some areas tomorrow morning.
The Olympic drama in Italy sucked in viewers this year. NBC is reporting it averaged about 23.5 million viewers for this year's Winter Games. That's the biggest number since 2014 and nearly double the audience for the last Winter Olympics in 2022.
Spirit Airlines has reached a deal to stay in business. The budget carrier said it has reached an agreement with creditors to exit bankruptcy later this spring or early summer. The airline has sold planes, cut staff, and will fly nearly 40% fewer flights this summer. Spirit's CEO said the carrier will emerge leaner and better positioned to compete on price.
Well, Paramount is rising its bid for Warner Brothers Discovery after its first offer was turned down. Paramount is now going directly to stockholders to try to force the deal. The new price has not been disclosed. Warner currently has a deal with Netflix that remains in effect while the board reviews Paramount's proposal.
We will have more news ahead.
But first.
Yeah, definitely going to be colder on Wednesday, too. You definitely feel it, but we are going to flip the switch a little bit for Thursday and even better temperatures as we go towards Friday. We'll break it all down coming up on your first Warn Weather Update after the break. Yeah, we're going to be flipping back and forth a little bit too over the next many days, but overall the pattern is also dry. We have a few opportunities for some light snow, but nothing significant like we saw that system that came through earlier last week. But it's going to be obviously back and forth, which you'll see a lot more coming into March. But for tomorrow, really, we're going to see another push of Arctic air. The bulk of it stays just to the north, but we are going to get much colder. That'll swing through. We kind of climb up a little bit Thursday, not too bad, but then Friday looks like we get enough of a pull prior to the cold front comes through. As you see it sweeping through by Saturday and the weekend, we're back getting into the cold conditions as it swings to the east. As we go into next week, we're going to be in a transition zone probably Monday and Tuesday, depending on where this boundary you can kind of see that'll be sitting here, and that could play a role in some precipitation chances. But by the second half of next week, I think we're going to start turning that back around and at least getting back above average, if average. And by the time you get to end of next week into early March, you're looking at average temperatures around the upper 30s to near 40 at that point. So we should see more 40s more likely as we go throughout the weekend. Now, those precipitation chances are two of the things that we're looking at. One is a system that kind of that pushes right to our south. A few days ago, it looked like it might actually get closer to I-90. Now it's looking like it's even further south. So we'll see increasing clouds Wednesday night. That little bit of flurry activity could touch maybe some of the northeast counties of Iowa, but other than that, most areas are just going to see an increase in cloud cover, a few flurries, and that'll be it. Going into Thursday morning, cloud cover persists, but then we have a little band of snow you see right there. It's ahead of a warm front that'll be lifting through the area. That could provide a little bit of activity through the morning hour and maybe a few showers into the afternoon, but most of that will be east of the area as that warm front comes through, more sun in the afternoon. That warm front means we're going to get some warmer conditions going into Friday before the cold front comes through. Now, in the meantime, for tonight, it's the wind chill is a big story because we will be below zero starting off through the morning hours. You see wind chills pretty much in the 5 to 10 below as you go north of I-94, more in the single digits to maybe around 10. Not much improvement until maybe the afternoon time frame. By noon, you're still single digits to near zero. In the afternoon, the winds will drop off pretty quickly, too. I think light and variable as we go as you head home. So more likely the temperature will be the same as the apparent temperature as we go into the evening. So that'll be the good news with no wind chill. Tonight's temperatures could get well into the single digits in some areas. We will have cloud cover off and on, and that wind also will be up, which helps to keep the temperatures a little bit higher than you would expect with a snowpack. And Thursday, look at these temperatures now. We swing that back around. We get back into the mid to upper 30s. This is very close to average. Once again, more clouds in the morning, maybe that snow chance. More sun in the afternoon time frame. And then, yes, everyone's going to be much happier to see these temperatures going into Friday. Upper 40s to near 50. If you have a lot of snow cover on the ground, it's unlikely. I think you won't see 50, else we will. These are above average. It doesn't last that long, unfortunately, because the cold front comes sweeping through Friday night. We get back into the cold conditions and some snow opportunities Saturday, early Saturday. Otherwise, next week, we're starting to climb back up. A little bit more uncertainty, at least on precipitation chances Monday and Tuesday, but that looks minor, if any. And then, yeah, the second half of next week, I think that's when we'll get back into the 40s potentially. And by that point, average is 40 for La Crosse.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
That sure does. Thanks, Greg. Coming up next in sports, a golden return. Members of the Wisconsin women's hockey team are home with some new bling. Plus, the GET Melrose Mindoro wrestling team prepares for some high-stakes matches on the mat over the next week and a half. Jacob is next.
Covering all the exciting action from your community. Here's News 8 Now Sports with Jacob Lenzendorf.
Well, we are just a couple days away from the 83rd edition of the WIAA State Wrestling Tournament over in Madison, and area athletes are gearing up for what they hope to be a run that ends with them standing atop the podium with some shiny new hardware. GET Melrose Mindoro will be sending 8 boys to the Kohl Center this week, and the wrestling isn't done after those matches, as next week the Titans will be competing in Team State for the first time since 2020 after they won the sectional last Saturday up in Black River Falls. There's a major sense of pride within the program as they attribute their success to hard work from different levels of wrestling.
We have a t-shirt that says we grow our own, you know, and there's a belief in that, you know, so we've got a system that's all bought into it. Our youth coaches are part of our middle school and high school program. We all work together, we all collaborate, you know, and that's especially even being across 2 small districts like we are. Everybody's on the same page, and so that's allowed us to get to where we're at.
And Colton Koss, a 4-time state qualifier, says he'll be able to wrestle more freely when he hits the mat on Thursday at the Kohl Center because he knows he still has one more go-around in a Titans singlet next week.
Making it as a team took a little bit of the pressure off individual because, I mean, we still got one more week and I'm a senior, so, like, it's not going to be my last weekend of wrestling. I still got next weekend, and, I mean, you already made it there, so you may as well just go out there and let it fly.
Both Koss and Coach Peterson emphasized the importance of Team State being held at the La Crosse Center for the first time, and they're anticipating a bunch of Titans fans making the trip down next week. And 4 Badger hockey players from the women's side have some new bling to show off as Olympians Caroline Harvey, Kirsten Sims, Layla Edwards, and Ava McNaughton arrived to the Dane County Regional Airport a little before midnight last night as gold medal winners. Team USA defeated Canada in overtime 5 days ago to claim their 3rd ever Olympic gold medal. Now it's right back to business for these Golden Badgers as they're preparing to help defend their national title as the NCAA quarterfinals start up on March 12th. Guys, still crazy to me that they're still just college kids, and I also wonder too, were those professors a little lenient on homework and exams and stuff while they were gone?
I mean, you would hope so, right? I mean, they're representing the country. It's as good an excuse as you could ask for, honestly.
I think so, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And it is UW-Madison, though.
That's
so
true.
Some of them might have been sticklers.
Good education over there, right?
It sure is.
Yeah. All right, Greg has a final look at your forecast right after this.
All right, definitely breezy overnight, so the temperatures will be in the teens. The wind chills will definitely be in the single digits or below 0 as you go throughout the morning hour, too. You can see up to the north, single digits, too. Now, tomorrow definitely feels more like the mid-January type conditions, maybe end of January. Wind chills, single digits below 0, above 0. It's a cold day. The good news is Thursday, we're back to seasonal, minus a little bit of snow potential in the morning. And Friday, yes, we get up to 40s, maybe 50, but it doesn't last long because the weekend is shaping up to be another cold one.
A fun Friday.
Yeah.
But then a return to
reality.
normalcy.
And the Casual weekend. Yep. Thanks for joining us at 6.
We'll see you tonight at 10.